Talk with a Tech, where I go live each and every Sunday to answer your questions. Today is Mother's Day, May 8th. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. And if you missed this live stream, if you're watching it later, you can always come back next Sunday for the live stream. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications for when I come out with live streams and with future videos. So if this is your first time, it's an open forum. You guys are free to ask any questions that you would like, and I will happily provide an answer for them if I have an answer. And the live streams do run for 1 hour. It'll end today at 3 p.m. So just before we dive into the questions, just want to come out with some updates here. So I did order more poker chips. These have been extremely popular. Everyone has been asking about them. Right now, the poker chips are only available to Patreon members, which I'm going to include the link right now in the live chat window for the Patreon page. If you have not yet joined, I did order another shipment of them. So once they do get in, I will be offering those for sale to everybody. A couple other things. Everyone has been asking about video poker. I am working on a video for that right now, so be sure to be watching for that. So if you're a video poker player, be sure to hit the bell for notifications on the channel for when I come out with that video. So again, guys, it's an open forum. You can ask anything that you would like. So I'll go ahead and start taking some questions here, and I'll go through them. If I look down, I'm just looking at my computer to grab some questions here. Let's see. Joan asks, does the slot payback percentage mean that at times it can be above that percent and at other times be below that percent, but in the long run becomes that percent? This is the way video poker payback works. So with the percentage, it is an average over the machine's life expectancy and lifetime. There's not a set timeline for how long a machine lasts, but that percentage is an average. Now the thing is the casinos can get audited at any time, and it cannot ever be below that percent. So it can go above the percent anytime that they would like to, but there is a minimum legal that it does have to stay above. So that's always something to keep in mind. And as for video poker, again, I will be coming out with a video on that here soon. South Jersey Fisherman says, glad you clarified on the online casino games. Yes, you know, online casino games are something that I've gotten a lot of comments about and people interested in about the online games. Guys, just be careful with those because they're not legal everywhere. And I know there are a lot of websites out there that will allow you to still play these online games regardless of what state you're in. Just be cautious with that. There have been cases, I actually didn't know this until I looked it up, but there have been cases with the FBI and the Department of Justice actually going after the players. So just be careful with that. There are a lot of good online casino websites out there, however. So they are not all bad. There are some good ones. There are legal ones out there. So just be sure to stick with the legal ones. Do your research, especially when it involves your money. Let's see here. Next question. What are your thoughts on games like Ocean Magic, Scarab, and those games with the moving/added wilds? Well, I don't really have any particular thoughts on those. Personally, I don't play them too much. I like to stick to games that are very simple and straightforward, which I will be coming out with another video about that, the reasoning behind that, to kind of share some insight with you guys on that one. So no particular thoughts on those games, but I'll look into them for sure. Is Lucky Larry Lobster Mania predetermined? I would have to double check. Every bonus is different. Every game is designed differently. So some games do have predetermined bonuses, some do not. It's really all just specific to the game, so I will have to look into that one in particular. Let's see. While playing video poker, is the second hand already dealt when you push the button the first time, or is it continually spinning until you hit it the second time? I've heard both views on this. So the funny thing about video poker is programmed a lot like slot machines. It does have a percentage payback that it stays within, that the casino can adjust on within the laws, but certain states have different laws when it comes to video poker. They're actually kind of classified different, which I'm going to go into further detail on that in the video poker video that I'll be coming out with. Let's see. Dr. Hamilton or Dr. Hamilton, one of those. I don't think they audit the Minnesota casinos as much as they should. So again, with casinos, and this is kind of a common thing that I always like to stress to people, people like to view everything in very much black and white, and if it's not this way, it's the other way. The casino industry does not operate like that. The casino industry has a lot of factors, a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of variables. Every single game is different. With these machines here, even though this one's Triple Diamond Deluxe, this one's Triple Diamond, they're both Triple Diamonds. They do have different payback percentages. They do have different chips, and casinos can order them any specific way that their state allows. So it really all depends on the states. As for auditing, that's really kind of up to them and how their laws work. There's not really a federal standard. So Minnesota might have a different, different requirement for how often those get audited. Let's see, Lexi asks, have you ever been to any Washington casinos? I have not. I have not been up there yet. Scott Crossland wanted to thank you for your videos. I've learned a lot, and I will be arriving in Vegas next week and look forward to being better educated before I sit down and play the slots. Good luck to you, Scott. I hope to hear lots of good news. By the way, guys, again, I did come out with my website, ropethejackpot.com. I do publish your testimonials on there. So if you guys do end up going to the casino and you win, snap a picture. I will happily put it on the website. You can submit all of that at ropethejackpot.com. I did pin that up in the live chat window, so it is pinned to the top there for you guys to get that website address. Just reading through some comments here, guys. The comments do come in very quick on my end. A lot of times there is a delay with the comments, so many times I get flooded with like 5 or 6 comments at once. So if I take a break for a minute, it's just because I'm trying to catch up with y'all. Let's see. At tribal casinos where it is bingo / lottery slots, is it still better to play high limit slots, or is it totally different than random generated? So really, it all depends. Not all tribal casinos are Class 2, guys, and I have mentioned that a couple times. There are a lot of tribal casinos that are fully Class 3, fully regulated, just like any Vegas casino would be. That would be, for example, the state of Arizona. Arizona, they're all Class 3. They have a very good agreement with the state, and their casinos are pretty much regulated the same. It is always better to play higher limits. Your odds will be generally better. And obviously the payouts are going to be a lot bigger, but of course you do want to stay within your budget. So play within your means, play what is high limit to you. You know, if there's $1,000 slot machine on the floor and you can't afford to play $1,000 slot machine, don't feel bad. Play within your means. Let's see. C-Day asks, are the odds the same at all California Indian casinos, or do they vary tribe to tribe? It would depend on what the compact with the state says. So that would be something to research locally. California is not my state, so I do not know. But if they have a compact with the state that says that all casinos have to be within a certain range, then that would be the case. But if not, the tribes do have the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, which they are allowed to set their own standard by. So I would have to look into that and see what the California specific says. John K asks, you always mention higher denom is better. What about video poker? 5 credits for 5 credits of $1 per hand, or $5 with one, or $5 bet, only 1 credit per hand. So you are always going to have the better odds with the higher denom, no matter what machine you play. And that's standard across the board at pretty much any casino you go to. I've never seen or heard of a casino where a lower denom pays better than a higher denom. So the higher denoms are always going to have the better advantage. But again, you want to play within your means. It is always better to play max credit on any machine. That includes video poker. So if you are only budgeting for $5, then I would play the $1 denom with 5 credits played. Let's see. EJ Laughs a Lot says, I swear that the longer I'm in the casino, the more I lose. Often I hit a jackpot or hand pay early on and then downhill. Any truth in my theory? So it's not really a theory. It's more of the casinos are not doing it on purpose. It's just kind of general statistics. Every game in the casino, guys, it is designed for the house to have the advantage. So the longer you stay in the casino and the more you play and the more you go, in the long run, you'll probably come out on the losing end of that. That's not anything that the casinos are doing in particular. My recommendation is always, if you get a big jackpot or a hand pay, is to leave the casino with that. Take your winnings and run, so to speak. Let's see. Brian asks, let's see here, the comment kind of disappeared there. Which has better payouts, the big name casinos or the small tribal ones? That's a good question. So it really, again, it all depends on the state. It all depends on the tribe. However, I will say this from personal experience, and I always use Arizona for example. Arizona is all tribal gaming, but they're class 3 gaming. They're not class 2. They used to be class 2, but they're all class 3 now. I have always had the best luck at Arizona tribal casinos, but then if you go to, say another state or anything like that with other tribes, they have completely different regulations, completely different odds that they set, and they might not be as good. So it really does think. It kind of makes you think a little bit. I would say that in general, the smaller casinos will tend to have the better odds. So again, how the law states is there's a minimum, but there's not a maximum. So the casino can set their odds anywhere above that line that they choose to. They just can't set it below. So a lot of times what you find is the smaller casinos, the more remote casinos, casinos with less traffic, they'll oftentimes set their odds a little bit higher just because since they do have less foot traffic, it gets more people in the door. If people see that there are bigger wins coming out of there, they might go there more often, more frequently. So that's kind of a casino tactic that they would use, so to speak. Let's see. Someone says they think my pin might be misspelled here in the comments. Let's see. I'll remove that. I'm going to put the website up one more time here. 1 second. All right, so I just posted the website again in the comment window. So if you guys want to check that out, and I will put that pinned up at the top. All right, let's go back here, see where I left off. I got a lot of comments here. So let's see. Thoughts on Keno machines? Is it more skill and patterns than a regular slot, or do you have higher odds of winning? So Keno machines, I've gotten a lot of feedback on this. I'm going to eventually come out with a video on Keno. But from a casino standpoint, Keno really has never been super popular. It is programmed a lot like a slot machine. It still does have that payback percentage that it has to stick by. But there's a lot more random factor. I wouldn't say there's really a skill involved in Keno. It's more of just totally random, what it lands on, what you pick kind of deal. And no, I wouldn't say that Keno has any kind of patterns or anything like that. It really is, when it comes to Keno, completely random. Let's see here. Sal says, I notice when I play and press the button, the reels do not move. I press it again and they move. Is the machine resetting, or am I imagining something? So a lot of the times on the older machines, it will kind of stop and think for a moment. It's not doing anything, but a lot of times, like, you could go to press the button and like it doesn't spin, and then you happen to press it and it spins. Oh, I almost hit double sevens there. There's really no reasoning behind that. A lot of the older machines do that sometimes. Some of the newer machines do, but they've gotten better on that. Someone says they don't think Michigan are Class 2. They have MGM, Greentown, Motor City, along with tribal casinos, but Michigan does not have to publish their percentages. That is correct. Most states, there's very few states that will actually publicly share their payback percentages. But you can always ask. It never hurts to ask. And if you're ever unsure if a facility is Class 2 or 3, pretty much any gaming employee can answer that question for you. That's not private information. That's something that they can tell you. So if you're ever at a casino and you're just curious, you can always ask somebody, hey, is this Class 2 or Class 3? They'll answer it for you. Let's see. Just reading over some comments here. And we got the attractor noise. So the attractor noise, by the way, that sound that goes off, if there's no credits in the machine and someone pushes the button randomly. It's on a timer, and we can set the timer, and basically it's called an attractor because they're hoping that someone pushes the button and walks away, and then all of a sudden the machine starts making noise and it attracts people to play it. Let's see. Lumi asks why sometimes it seems like almost everyone is hitting jackpots, but there are days you can't hit anything, even on the weekends and busy days that this has happened. If it's all random, this is odd. So the thing with the time of days, obviously, if you go to the casino on any really busy day, you're going to probably notice more jackpots just simply because there's more foot traffic. And again, there's so many things that you hear out there on the internet, and I can tell you from working in the casino, and again, I have worked in 4 casinos in my life, both Class 2 and Class 3, 4 different casinos. We do not set anything better or worse on the weekends or weekdays. There is no changing of the machines at all based on time of day or location on the floor, simply because we don't have to. The machines are naturally built to give the house a profit, so there is no need to change them. It takes a lot of effort, and there's no need to change them. So let's see. Just catching up on some comments, guys, here. Where is the best place to purchase a decommissioned slot machine? So, you guys, if you want to buy a slot machine, if you want to have slot machines like I do in my house, they are very fun. I did own a store where I sold slot machines, and I owned that store for a couple of years. And now I do have a buyer's guide on my website. So if you guys are interested in purchasing a slot machine, you can go to ropethejackpot.com and click on the slot machine buyer's guide, and you will see on there what to look for. In a machine, kind of when you're buying a machine, and also there's a guide on there to check it to see if personal ownership of slot machines is legal in your state, which is really important to check. So if you are interested in purchasing a slot machine, you can go over to ropethejackpot.com and check out my buyer's guide there. Let's see here. Robin asks, are floor employees allowed to tell you what machines are hitting? That's a good question, Robin. We used to get that a lot. When I worked on the floor, we got that a lot. What our management told us, and this was our rule, and again, it's all casino specific. My casinos that I worked at, we all had the same rule. Management did not want us to, if a player were to come up and say, hey, what machine should I play or what's hitting? Our rule is we couldn't tell you. We just had to say, oh, well, all of the machines are lucky. That's what our answer had to be. So it really depends on the casino. You might get an employee that will share that information. You can always ask, but in general, generally speaking, no, the floor employees are not allowed to tell you what machines are what machines are hitting and what machines are not, just because the reason being is if you were to go over and say hit a major jackpot on that machine, it would look suspicious and all of that fun stuff. So you can always ask. You can always ask. $5 super chat from Lumi. Thank you very much. We want to see a picture of your horses. I do have a photo around here somewhere. I might put that up on the community page. There is a photo of me on one of my horses on the About section of ropethejackpot.com. But I could share a picture of the horses. I'll put that on the community page after this live stream is over. So if you guys are interested in my horses or my personal life, I'll happily share that with you. Let's see here. Number one professional excavator operator JD Lay says, you are awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge and opinions and facts. Thank you guys very much. This webpage, this YouTube channel would not be here without you guys. Also, guys, just kind of touching on that, the channel is growing really, really quickly, which is awesome and amazing. But I still do need your guys' help. So if you do find any of my videos interesting at all, please share them on your social media. That's the best way to help the channel out, is just to get the word out there. So the channel will keep growing. And that's all thanks to you guys. So thank you very much for all of that. Slots a Lot asks, have you ever worked on video slots or only real slots? I have worked on them all. So the last time that I worked in a casino wasn't too long ago. So we did have all of the newest games. We had Dancing Drums, we had Lightning Links, all of that. So I've worked on all of them. Really, guys, as much as the casinos, as much as the slot machines all look very different, they're very much all the same, programmed to the same standard on the inside. When it comes to newer versus older slot machines. I've mentioned this a couple times before, that slot machines, they are all legally regulated and they are regulated by the law. So it doesn't matter their age. They could be 20 years old. They could be fresh from the factory. They do all have to follow the same standard, even though they look different. But yes, I've worked on all of them. Joe asks, can the casino change the payback during free play? No, they cannot. So this is kind of a common misconception here. When I made one of my first videos, I kind of touched on free play. Actually, I think it was my first video that I touched on free play. And I didn't quite go into a lot of detail on that. But no, free play does not affect the actual payback percentage of the machine. It does not. The only thing that free play does not get registered in is the accounting record. That's it. That's the only thing that free play doesn't get registered into, because it's not actual money coming in. The casino can't essentially pay themselves. Now, once you win off of free play, if you win something off of free play, that does get taken into account. But the actual free play, when you put it in the machine, no, it does not get put into the accounting record. That's the only thing that makes free play different. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. If slots were, all these comments keep moving. If slots were all random, their profits would fluctuate drastically up and down and be unpredictable. They would go bankrupt in time. Think about it. That is true. Slot machines are not entirely random, guys. They are a mix of both. The only random aspect of the machine is when you push the button, the outcome. The outcome of the reels is the random factor of it, but they do still have to maintain a certain percentage. If there's any accountants that you ask or anything like that, I mean, the casino is built to make money, so they want to make sure that they're always retaining a profit. So whatever machines you do play on, the machines, trust me, they've given more to the casino than they've given out. So yes, they do have a percentage payback that they do have to stay within. There's some longer questions on here, guys, so I'm just trying to get caught up here. Let's see. Michael says, love your channel. Question, I play a machine called Rupa New Riches, never heard of that one, and won $11,000 at $50 to spend on my first spin. Wow, that's very impressive. If I would have played $100 max bet, would I have hit the jackpot? So no, not necessarily. So the random number generator in the machine does run very fast, so it really is all dependent on when you hit the button. You got very, very lucky to get that $11,000 on your first spin. I wish that would happen. I wish that would happen to me. That would be pretty cool. But there's really no way to tell. Let's see. Let's see, another question here. Do you stay away from recommending casinos for the same reason floor employees won't tell you which machines are hitting or don't want to show favoritism to a specific casino or tribe? So here's the thing on my channel, me personally, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I'll just mention it again. I do not and will not endorse anything that I don't personally use or feel is good. I've been to a lot of casinos all across the country. I've been to a lot of them. If a casino is not good, I will tell you it's not good. If it is good, I will tell you that I personally had luck there. Maybe you will too. But as for recommending casinos, I don't really usually recommend casinos per se, only if I've had good luck at them, if that makes sense. Sorry if that does not make any sense. Are video Keno payouts different from slot machine payouts? In a way, they are, but they are programmed relatively the same. Let's see. Lumi says, once I played a $100 Wheel of Fortune machine, then a slot attendant came near me and said the machine is due to give a spin. Are you sure? And sure enough, a minute later that happened. How did he know that? So, kind of like with anything, guys, you guys as the player are in a casino for a very brief amount of time. And that kind of goes into one of the other things I was saying about there's a lot of people out there that give advice and give tips on gambling and casinos, but they all give it from the player's perspective. You can't get a good perspective on a machine if you've not been around it 40 hours plus a week for years and years and years. A lot of times, working in the casino, I will say this. When you work in a casino and you're around a machine all day, every day of the week, you get to realize a lot. You get to kind of see a lot of those factors of the machine. So like, for example, that employee could have been there all day, and we might have it in our heads, well, it usually gives a payback every hour or so, or I'm usually over here paying it out every hour or so. So if it's gone a couple hours and they haven't been over there, then naturally after, working there for years and years, they would probably know. Of course, it's always random. It's always a guess, but you do pick up on things like that when you actually work for a casino. There are many machines that when I worked for the casino, there were many machines that I would go weeks and months and years and never see pay out. And then there were other machines that every single time I would walk in, I would know like, okay, well, that machine's going to pay out today because it pays out every day. So there are things that you pick up on like that. And that's kind of one thing that I stress to people a lot is the advice that I give you guys is from years of experience of actually working in a casino. And when you work in a casino, you do pick up on a lot of things that other people that are giving advice simply from the player's perspective do not see because they're not there 24/7. Let's see here. Just going through some questions here, guys, so I apologize if I go quiet. Do you like Boyd properties? I've only played it a couple of them. I haven't played it any recently. So I really don't have much of an opinion on Boyd properties, so to speak. Floyd says, I seem to always win in Mesquite and hardly ever win in Vegas. Why is that? Is it because there are greatly fewer people in the Mesquite casinos and only 3 casinos? I've never played there, so I'm not sure. I can't really give an opinion on that, seeing as how I've not played there. But I would follow up by saying if you play at the Mesquite casinos more, then you probably, obviously you're there more, so you would have more of a chance, so to speak. But really that I'm not sure just because I have not been there. David asks a good question. Is the casino payback percentage calculated / audited on an annual basis of slot machine returns to players? So every state is different. Some states do it quarterly, some states do it monthly. But yes, they do get audited all the time. And I have people ask me all the time, they say, well, the gaming commission isn't always there, so they're not always watching. They actually are there. Every single casino that I've worked for, we actually do have gaming commission employees that are on property, and that they're on site. They are not employed by the casino, they're employed by the state, but they actually do have an office in the casino, and they are there, and they do audit. They do random audits all the time. So the folks out there that are saying the Gaming Commission is not always there, I can tell you right now that that is a myth. The Gaming Commission is always there. Trust me. They are always there. Let's see. Is each payout listed on the pay table program to hit on a schedule like 50,000 once per year or twice a month? No, they're not. The machine can technically go its entire life and never hit the top line jackpot. I'll just use this one for example. I don't know if you know, I'll use this one. You guys can see it a little bit better. So the top line on this one is the triple diamond, 3 triples for 2,500 coins. The machine can technically go its entire life and not hit that, as long as it's hitting, you know, everything else and staying within that percentage, then it's legal and fine. So no, there's not a specific time or day that the machine has to pay out the top line on. Let's see here. This is a good question. EJ Laughs a Lot asks, if the mini bonus is higher than the minor bonus, is that a good sign of the mini hitting? Yes, it is. So the thing with the minis, there are more chances to hit the mini bonus. It's just more common. So if it is higher, that definitely is a good sign, because you have a better probability of hitting that. Those progressives, a lot of times, depending on the game, but those progressives do reset to a lower amount. So if the mini has not hit in a while and it's pretty high, then yeah, I would say that is a good sign. You should probably play that machine. Todd asks a good question here. Can a casino give you a check instead of thousands of dollars for you to have to carry around? Makes me nervous. Yes, they can. The casino can issue you a payout. Any jackpot, whether it's $1,200 or whether it's higher, they can issue you a payout in 3 different ways. One, the most common, is cash. That's the one that they will automatically bring to you. If you don't say anything, they'll just bring you cash. Number 2 is a ticket. So if you want to get a gaming ticket, if you want to continue to play, if you want to play that money, they'll bring you a gaming ticket. And the other is a check. So yes, the casino can issue you a check, which actually is a really good thing, guys. It's a great way to keep your money and make sure that it gets home. If you guys hit a big jackpot, my recommendation is take it in the form of a check. Then you have to wait until you get home and put it in your bank account and wait a couple days for it to clear. But that would be the best option to do. Now, all of those options you do have to request. Same with taxes. A lot of states are different. Some states require taxes, some states don't. Some states are optional. But these are all things. Excuse me. These are all things that when the casino does come to pay you out, you can request stuff like that. So you can always request. You can request a check. You can request a ticket. You can request taxes taken out, so on and so forth. So yes, they do issue a check. Jesse asks a good question. Is a tip expected with a hand pay? Tips are never expected, and a lot of people, when I worked for the casinos, we realized that most people, majority of people, especially if it's your first time hitting a jackpot, they don't know to tip. But usually any tip is appreciated. There's not really a set amount. Everybody tips differently. Some people tip really high. Some people tip really low. Some people don't tip at all. I wouldn't really say it's expected. It's not like a restaurant where if you don't tip, you're automatically considered an ass. So because we do understand in the casino business that not a lot of people are aware that you should tip. But yes, all casino employees are tip based, and that is the bulk of the income for the employees is tips. Many times dealers, slot attendants, stuff like that, they have a very low hourly rate and they get most of their money from tips. And those are usually pulled with the entire floor. Let's see here. Robert says some casinos only issue checks over a certain amount. Want a jackpot at the D or 4 queens. They said checks are given out if you win $10,000 or more. they only paid me in cash. So yes, again, every casino is different when it comes to their policies, but you can always request a check, which I think that that's the better option to do. David mentions a good question. Are slot attendant managers allowed to accept any tips? So they are. Management will accept tips, but it does not go to them. It will go in the pot for everybody else. Because again, how our tips worked is they were all pulled. So what would happen is at the end of the day, everybody put their tips in a pot, and then that got separated out for all the employees, and then the techs got a piece, and so on and so forth. And I believe even a portion of those tips at our casino, a portion of those tips went to the beverage servers as well. So every casino is different when it comes to that. But yes, you can tip the managers. They'll just give it to the employees. Are you familiar with the Big Cities 5 and basically a lower odds slot because they can be played at a penny per spin? I'm not familiar with that machine, to be honest. But any denomination that's low, like a penny machine, is going to have less amount of odds. Does the casino take half of the tips? One employee from a casino told me. Our casinos did not. No. That's very, very rare to find. And I would think that any casino that took half of the tips from the employees, they probably have an employee issue with retaining employees. EJ Laughs a Lot says, I prefer a check as the bank has the right to report unusual cash deposits and must report cash over 10 grand. Yes, so pretty much with banking and now we're going into something completely different, but with banking regulations, yes, you always do, if you do have a large lump sum of money, whether it is a cash or a check, you want to make sure to bring your paperwork with you, your W-2G, because the bank will need to verify that. Danielle asks, is the bonus predetermined when you hit the trigger or when you press the start button? Again, it all depends on the game. Some games it's when you hit the button, some games the bonus is predetermined before you start. So it all depends. Let's see, just catching up on some comments here, guys, or some questions. Ted says, I've often heard that the slots at the Las Vegas airport are among the tightest machines in the Las Vegas area. Any truth to this that you've heard? So I have yet to do, you can always look for, sorry, just reading something over here. You can always look up the payback percentages on Nevada's Gaming Commission website. I have not looked at the airport statistics for that. I don't think they're the tightest. I've played them a couple times. I don't really think they're the tightest. However, you can always check. That does change. I believe in Nevada it changes. They update those records on a monthly basis, so you can always change. There have been some major jackpots hit at the Las Vegas airport, though. It seems to me that most Wheel of Fortune jackpots actually get hit there. Somebody did just win over $1 million on Wheel of Fortune. That Progressive actually did pay. I believe it paid at the D in Las Vegas just a couple days ago this week. So congratulations to that winner out there. That must be a huge jackpot to hit for sure. Tony asks, can I do a video on Keno? Yes, I will be doing a video on Keno eventually. I do have some other videos that I'm working on right now. I have probably 2 or 3 videos that I'm currently working on, but I will eventually get to Keno, and I will eventually get to video poker as well. Ron asks, how can you tell if a machine is ready to hit, and should you always play max? So there really is no true way to tell if a machine is getting ready to hit, because remember, these machines are random. There's certain things that you can watch for if you know the game, like if you've played the game for years and you kind of know how it acts. You can better your chances by selecting better games and so on and so forth. And yes, you should always try to play max, but that's not necessarily to say if it's not within your budget, don't play max. You do want to stick within your budget. But if you have the ability to play max, I would definitely play max. Is the air-powered interblock roulette machine actually a true roulette game, or is it merely a roulette game under glass controlled by an RNG? So that it is still controlled by an RNG for the actual computer base of it, but I would have to research that game into further detail before I really go into a lot on that. I just had like 10 different comments and questions pop up, so just kind of going through here. JC asks, very interested in purchasing a slot machine that is no longer in use. What is a good place to do that, and how much would you pay for one? So the price of slot machines has gone up over the years because they are getting harder and harder and more difficult to find. More casinos are moving towards leasing machines and sending it back to the manufacturers rather than actually auctioning them off and putting them on the market. So if you guys are interested in purchasing a slot machine, I would try to purchase one soon, within the next couple of years, because they are slowly fading out of the private market. I do have, in case you missed it, I do have a full buyer's guide on purchasing slot machines with a ton of resources and where to buy them and all of that at my website at www.ropethejackpot.com. So check that out. You can buy pretty much any slot machine that you want to, as long as it's legal in your state. And I do have a guide on the website that will actually state what states are legal and what are not. So check that out if you are interested in purchasing a slot machine at ropethejackpot.com. And again, that website, I did pin it in the comment window, so you can go and look in the comments to check that out. Let's see. Peggy says, hi, just joined. Hopefully you haven't answered this already. Wonder if you've played at the station casinos in Las Vegas. I have. The station casinos are actually pretty good. I've had some pretty good luck there. I've never won a major jackpot there, but I have played there, and I've done I've had some pretty good luck there. Any thoughts on the electronic craps game? No thoughts on it, really. Again, pretty much any machine, whether it's video poker, whether it's slots, whether it's Keno, roulette, craps, they are all going to be programmed to the same standard with the same level of programming and percentage payback and so on and so forth. But every place is different. Just a reminder on that one. Every state is different. Floyd asks, in your opinion, my opinion on the best and worst casinos to play in Las Vegas, as for best and worst slots. So, if you want my personal opinion, if you guys have watched the channel, you know that I do enjoy playing at Bellagio, Aria, Cosmo, places like that. I feel like MGM Properties really has the better odds. The worst to me, I think, would be Caesars. I have stayed at Caesars probably 20 times over the past year. And not just myself, where I've never won a jackpot there, but just through observation and looking around during busy times, during slow times, during morning, evening, afternoon. I very rarely see people hitting at Caesars. So I tend to avoid Caesars properties now, just for that reason. So if you want my opinion on best and worst, I would say best would probably be Bellagio. They do have the best selection, I feel. They have a lot of $5 slot machines, which is my favorite denom. They have a lot newer, older, tons of $5 slots. So I feel that they kind of have the best selection. So that's what I play at. Let's see. All right. What happens when you hit the 3 quick hit progressive in one bet instead of the max 2 bet credit? Do you win anything? I would have to double check. I want to say that if on the quick hit machine you get something back, I believe it's your minimum bet, but I would have to double check on that. Again, with most progressive machines that you guys play out there, most progressive machines will require that you play the max in order to get the progressive. There are some exceptions, like Dancing Drums and a lot of the Lightning Link games. You do not have to play max in order to land those those progressive jackpots. Just looking at the time here, guys, we're about 45 minutes into our live stream. And I do keep the live streams right at 1 hour, so we have about 15 minutes left in this live stream. If you do, if I don't get to your question or anything like that, you can always come back next Sunday. I do this every single Sunday, so you guys can always come back for that. But I do like to keep it right about an hour for everybody. So just giving you all a heads up. Does the electronic roulette game give you a W2G if you cash out over $11.99? So W2Gs are only given, it's only considered a hand pay or a jackpot per se. It's only considered a jackpot if you get $1,200 in a single win or more. So technically you can accumulate up to, say $5,000-$10,000 in a machine and you can cash out and get a ticket. That's not considered taxable. It's only considered taxable when you get $1,200 or more. Anything over $11.99 or more in a single win, but you can accumulate well over that. Let's see. Just trying to go through all these questions here. There's a lot coming in. Number one professional excavator operator is asking about Fallon. I've never been there or played anything there, so I don't know about that. But I can always double check. I can always see. There's a lot of casinos out there. Stuff is always changing. So there's lots more content to come for sure. Let's see. Another question here. I have close to $600 in free play through MGM Resorts, but was told they are not available on progressive machines. I know the machines you like. What are other machines I should look for? So most of the time, free play is not going to be available on progressive machines. That's pretty standard. Pretty standard throughout most casinos. Other machines you would look for. Honestly, my theory with free play is if you have free play to use, I would just go for the highest denomination you can possibly find that you want to stick with for a while. I would do 25 with $600 in free play. I would do probably $10 or $25 bets on $10 or $25 slots. That's what I would do personally. But again, it's all up to you. If you want to play for a long time and sit there at the casino for a couple hours, you can play at lower denoms if you want to. But my theory on free play is just use it with higher limits. Ryan Lee asks top 5 slot tech tools to invest in. So definitely a chip puller. That would be the biggest thing. Is you definitely want to invest in a chip puller. Electrostatic discharge band. I would get one of those. Batteries, extra batteries, battery trays, and a soldering gun. That would probably be the best tools that I would use. Those are the ones we most commonly use all the time. David asks, what is the casino's rationale why they move slots around on the floor every so often? So it's not what you guys think. And I know that there's a couple people out there that have said, oh, casinos, they move slots because, they want to put the better paying ones at the front or, where the most people are. And that's not true. The casinos usually move machines around to make way for new games, or if they're switching something out, or a lot of times casinos do have agreements with manufacturers. So manufacturers will want to showcase games a lot. So the manufacturer might come to the casino and simply say, hey, would you mind putting our game in someplace more visible or anything like that, because we want people to see it and we want people to experience it and play it, and the casinos will do that. Most of the times when casinos move machines around, it is purely for marketing reasons. It doesn't have anything to do with what's paying more or less. It's just usually for marketing reasons. Let's see here. Are video poker machines set for some to pay smaller amounts more frequently and then some bigger payouts less frequently? No, not really. The only thing about video poker is the minimum you get back is the minimum bet. On most video poker games. I know on some, if you're playing multiple hands or anything like that, or multi-video poker, they can pay out a little bit different. But no, the video poker machines are not set any different way than a normal slot machine would be, if that helps. What is your biggest hand pay on what machine that I have had? So the biggest hand pay I have had on a machine was for $85,000, and that was on a triple double diamond machine, high limit. That was in 2011, and that was in Indiana, actually. So my biggest jackpot ever was in Indiana. It used to be called Indiana Live Casino. Now it's the casino has a different name. But yes, that was the biggest one that I've ever hit. Do gaming labs test all machines before they have been sold? So typically, no. A lot of times the manufacturers will do like sporadic testing and stuff. Some manufacturers, depending on the game, they'll test the game in general. Some will, some don't. But yes, they go through a lot of different testing. Do they test each individual machine? Sometimes no, they don't. Some factories will. I was just catching up on some questions here. Are Indian casinos regulated by the state, or can they set their own payouts? So, technically speaking, Indian casinos are regulated by themselves, unless they have an agreement with the state. So, like for example, I'll just use Arizona again. Arizona does have their compact with the tribes, so the state actually will regulate them as opposed to the tribe itself. But I know a lot of places, I believe in Oklahoma, they still have a compact with the state, but the Indian tribes can set their own and kind of do their own thing. Here in Wyoming, we do have some Indian casinos, which I will be going to eventually, and I'll be doing a video on it probably within the coming weeks. So be watching for that. But we do have Indian gaming here in the state of Wyoming, not very many. Those Indian casinos, they can set their own payouts, and they are basically self-regulated as allowed by the law. All right, guys, we got about 8 minutes left. So 8 minutes, and then we will end the live stream. So we'll do some final questions here. Let's see. Who is the highest rank person at the casino who makes the slot and table placement decisions and special events? The casinos are very, very micromanaged. They have managers from, so like with my position, you know, I had a supervisor, I had an assistant manager, I had the actual slot manager, and then we had the slot director, and then we have so on and so forth. But the highest ranking person is the general manager of the casino, which oversees everybody. And even they get oversaw by the regulatory committees in the state and so on and so forth. So the highest ranking person in the casino who makes the decisions is the general manager, and oftentimes will meet with the director of either the director of table games or director of slots to determine things like that and take their feedback into consideration. Robert says, make a video about funny and crazy things you've seen in the casino. Yeah, we've seen a lot of crazy things. That is for sure. Mr. BTC Gambler says, what happens when a machine goes to the end of life and it's not paid out? It's RTP. So in general, the machines will always stick around their RTP. They are programmed. They are programmed around that percentage, so they will typically always stick around that. Sometimes they go above it, but never below it for the life of the machine. But the life of the machine is very long, and it really just all depends. It all depends on the casino. Funboy asks, is it true percentage payout increases with higher denominations? Yes, it is. Every denomination is programmed independently, and the higher the denom that you go, the better chances you're going to have when playing slots. So yes, the higher denominations are going to give you the better paybacks. Let's see. If you don't want to lose the machine when you're playing but have to use the restroom, how can you save it when you leave? So it's a common thing. The best thing to do is just call over the attendant. There's always that little service button that you can push. which, you know, will light up the little candle on the top. I know you guys can't see that candle, but you can push the service button and then have an attendant come over and just say, hey, I have to run to the restroom really quick. Would you mind watching my machine? And they will watch it for you. That happens all the time. So if you don't want to lose your machine and you're playing it and you have to run somewhere, go grab a drink or use the restroom, just ask an employee to watch it. Do not trust other gamblers to watch your machine. Do not leave your machine with money in it. Basic stuff like that. A good casino to play slots in Bossier City. So I have never been down there, but Stacy of Stacy's High Limit Slots plays in Bossier City a lot. So if you have not checked out Stacy's High Limit Slots, that would be a great question for her. Unfortunately, she's not with us in this live stream today, but you can always go to her channel, and she does have a Facebook page as well. You can always shoot her over a message on Facebook. And there goes that attractor again because I pushed the button. Let's see. Beard looking great. Thank you. I appreciate that. What's the most you've ever hit on a jackpot? 85,000. That's me personally. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. See, there's a lot of comments and questions on here that I'm missing, guys. So I do apologize for that. They all kind of run in at the same time, all the time here. I'm just reading through some of these comments here, trying to find some. An entertaining video will be capturing all the crazies you see in the casino. Yeah, that would be interesting. Don't record other people at the casino, though. That's a no-no. You don't want to record other people. Are casinos able to turn slots on when one of their high rollers come into play? I've noticed that when they play, they hit all the time. They hit all the time when they play. No, so again, the casinos cannot remotely change those machines or alter one more than another. But typically, the thing with the higher limits, guys, you have to understand is if you're playing a higher amount, you're going to win a higher amount, and anything over 1,200 is going to set off that light and the bells and the jackpots and so on and so forth. So in the high limit room, you're naturally going to see a lot more of that. And there are a lot of high limit players that come in and they will drop thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Way more than the average player would. Are you a veteran? Yes, I am. I was in the Air Force Reserves. When you were a tech, could you play at the casino you worked on? No, you cannot. Every casino is different when it comes to that, but in general terms, most casinos will not allow the employees to play the games. Let's see here. You say you prefer a $5 denom. Is that strictly budget related, or are there other reasons? It's just my personal preference for what I like to play. Let's see. Diane says, still trying to watch for the pattern you spoke about, but not getting the idea. So again, guys, every single machine is different. When it comes to patterns, that does not apply to all machines. It mostly applies to older machines, and it really only applies to a couple of games that you can catch. And when I'm talking about patterns, it's something that I have noticed repeatedly over the years of actually working in the casino. Because I know I get a lot of questions about that, and again, kind of like how I spoke earlier, if you're just a novice player, or even if you're a player that goes into the casino all the time and you might be there a couple days a week, you're still not there to see how the machines act 24/7. When you're around the machines constantly, you will notice things like patterns. And again, not all games do that. So there are a lot of games, especially the newer games, most all newer games, I've never noticed a pattern on any newer game before. Yeah, one person just mentioned dancing drums. Dancing drums, I've never seen any kind of a pattern on whatsoever. It's mostly the older machines, and mostly what I've noticed when it comes to things like patterns is mostly on triple stars. Triple stars tends to be the one that will show it the most, but in general terms, I would say that that's less than 10% of the time that you'll ever notice it. Let's see. One more person. They're asking, is there specific days best to get a better payout or payback percentage? No. The casinos do not adjust payout based on day or time. I cannot stress that enough. That is simply something that you hear. The only people that I have ever noticed that actually say, oh, well, the casinos pay out better on this day as opposed to this day, are people that have never worked for the casino before. If you actually work for the casino and you've worked there, you would know that that is not true. So no, there's not a better day or time or anything like that. Let's see. We are at the end of our live stream. I'm going to answer just a couple more questions, and then we will log off for the day. But you can always, if I missed your question at all, I apologize for that. But they do all run together. They all run together, and I get like 20 of them at a time. So it's hard for me to sit here and go through all of them. I know on your end it kind of looks like, you know, they're all coming in nice and neat, but there's kind of a delay on my end, so they all come in at the same time. Let's see here. I'm going to go through some last minute questions here, try to find some. Bob says, you've mentioned about casinos leasing versus owning machines. Are we allowed to ask employees which are owned and which are leased? Most employees are not going to know that. But pretty much most of the newer games out there are going to be leased. So I hope that helps to answer that question. Anyway, guys, we are at our 1 hour mark for today's live stream. So I would like to thank you all so much for joining me here today. I will be back next Sunday. The times do vary. I usually try to make it around 2 or 3 p.m. That is Mountain Time, my time. So if I missed your question at all, please do come back next Sunday. And then also just a recap too really quick, make sure, guys, if you would, because it helps my channel out tremendously, to go and share my videos on Facebook or any groups that you might be in or anything like that. Also, if you have asked about poker chips, I know everybody has been asking about poker chips. They are extremely popular. I originally ordered 100 of them and I am down to 25 of them. Right now, the poker chips are only available to Patreon members, which, one more time, I'm putting that in the comment window right now. So if you look in the comment window, you can see the link to the Patreon. They're only available to Patreon members right now, but excuse me, I have ordered more. They will be coming out soon, and I will be offering those for sale if anybody does want to purchase one. Anyway, guys, thank you so much again for joining me here on the channel. I've got a lot of exciting videos that I'm going to be coming out with, so be sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and keep checking back because there's always more info. And please do join me every single Sunday here for Open Forum and so on and so forth. So anyway, guys, have a fantastic Mother's Day. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you again very, very soon. We'll talk next Sunday.